Wednesday last week at home to Nicholls. Had a chance to pick up a match there at home. We didn't really inherit a home-friendly schedule this year, and myself and Coach Free at Nicholls had a conversation after they lost a game to La Tech due to weather, and we were able to quickly reorganize and pick that game up for them, and then give ourselves an opportunity to get another match in, which as a new staff trying to get into a new season made sense to get a little bit of extra work in before our conference opener. So that worked out great. They came in and were very disciplined, very organized defensively, and made us have to solve some things. We didn't do a particularly great job of solving them really until the second half. What ended up 2-0, maybe could have been 3 or 4. But at the end of the day, we were happy to get the result at home, happy to get a clean sheet, happy to get on the scoreboard again and find in the back of the net. This past Sunday, I guess that was yesterday, off on the road for our last regular season non-conference preparation for our conference slate, and all credit to Northwestern and to their staff. They did a great job of getting their team organized and ready to play, and unfortunately we came out on the wrong end of a result yesterday. Went up 1-0. Proceeded to give kind of a soft goal away again in the second half, something we've seen far too often from our side this season, and carried into overtime. First overtime, 3 shots from within 8 yards, right at the goalkeeper. So had 3 chances to win it in that first 10 minutes of overtime, and then yet again, 30 seconds before full time at 110 minutes, they found kind of a soft spot in the middle of our defense inside the 18-yard box, and converted a ball that just barely trickled over the line, and really just kind of outworked us for that. Pretty disappointing. Felt like even though we didn't play fantastic for 90 minutes or even 110 minutes, I thought we did enough to put ourselves in position to win that game. And when you go up a goal, sometimes go up multiple goals, and we continue to allow teams back into games, that's an indication that the team is not as well prepared as they should be, and I take full responsibility for that. I've got to do a better job of making sure that they understand the savvy and sophistication necessary to be able to manage a game, certainly when we put ourselves in position to win a game. And again, credit to Northwestern. I take nothing away from them. I felt like we should have won the game. I felt like we're the better team, but on the day, they executed in the areas and the times that they needed to execute and got the result, and so kudos to them. This weekend, open up conference play with South Alabama at home. South Alabama are having really a great start to their season, a team that in the Sun Belt we all know historically has been near or at the top of the conference. I think are sitting at 4-2-1 and just come off a result yesterday against Ole Miss, where they beat Ole Miss 2-1. So we know who they are. Our team knows who they are. Last year's game was a pretty tightly contested match. They're coming in with some new life. I think we've got a little bit of new life, and I expect it to be a fantastic match. But we certainly have our work cut out for us, and we're going to have to do a much better job of managing the game than we have been. We're 10 games in, including exhibition matches and non-conference play. 10 games is ample to be able to solve some of these things, and like I said, we as a staff, myself in particular, I've just got to do a better job of making sure that our relatively young team is better prepared to compete for the entirety of a match, and that's what I intend to do this week. So, anything you have?
Is it more about being more aggressive defensively when you get a lead, or more conservative defensively when you get a lead?
I mean, I guess there's 2 ways to look at it. You can protect the lead, or you can try to increase the lead, and probably trying to find the right balance of that is the way that you want to go about it. Generally, protecting the lead is not the safest, and you tend to be on the receiving end of a barrage as the game goes on. Protecting the lead, I think, more is a matter of sort of savvy than it is a matter of tactics. And instead of pushing forward, we're going to really conserve and be conservative, I guess you should say, and bring numbers back and try to sit in behind. That's not really who I am stylistically. I have a really hard time just sitting back and letting the game play out. I feel like there's a way the game is supposed to be played. When you have the ball, keep it and be purposeful to go forward. When you don't have the ball, work hard to win it back. And I think it kind of ultra simplifies it, but what we are doing when we're putting ourselves in position to win games and we're up a goal is I think sometimes losing a little bit of respect for the context of the game. And when you're up a goal on the road, away from home anywhere, at any level, in any league, that's a great position to be in, and also a tough position to be in. To come out from a road match with points in pocket is difficult. We were 30 seconds away from taking a point away from Northwestern, as they say, with 1 point for a draw, taking away a point away from that, and being able to come home and really would probably have been disappointed with a point, but not as disappointed as we are with a loss in the last 30 seconds. We just have to execute better. We have to be able to keep the ball better. We have to make better decisions. It's hot, but here's the deal. They played Friday night against Texas State, right? We were hanging out on Friday night. Right, so from a fatigue standpoint, we should have had the upper hand, especially late in that game. And I think we saw that play out in the first 10 minutes of overtime. We put it on them. We just couldn't find the back of the net. And sometimes, and we have to always account for this, soccer's a little bit different. The game is just different. You can outplay a team. You can outshoot them 30-2 and lose 2-0. And that's just sometimes how it goes. Yesterday wasn't exactly that type of a situation, but I also think that we did enough to put ourselves in position to win, and we should have won that match, and we didn't. And again, it comes back, I think, really to a little bit of maturity in terms of how, as a team, we're collectively managing that. And that has to start with me.
Over this 10-game sample, what's been the biggest area of growth, and what's kind of the biggest hurdle you're still trying to clear?
I think the biggest area of growth is, if you watch us play, we're comfortable with the ball. I mean, we can get hold of the ball. We're increasing constantly and improving our technical proficiency. Players want to have the ball. They're able to circulate the ball and put ourselves in positions to create good attacking options. So I'm really happy with that. I mean, we're finding opportunities. For a team that I think scored 10 or 11 goals or something all of last year, we're finding opportunities. But when you look at the stat sheet and you see, well, you scored 15 through these first 7-8 matches, but you've conceded 15. Right. Well, that just on average, if you score as many as you concede, you don't put yourself in a great position to win games. We have to stop conceding goals. And I realized that the lion's share of those really came in 3 matches. Right. The first 2, which were, we're trying to figure out who we are and what we can do and what we can't do. And then the third game, still kind of playing through a little bit of that. And I think we've tightened things up of late. But, to concede 2 goals in the way that we did yesterday was I think, a step back for us, quite honestly.
Are you where you expected to be for the start of conference play, or hope to be, or are you a little ahead of pace, a little off pace?
I think the expectations are really kind of how you come about it. I mean, what I'm trying to encourage our players to do is to kind of forget about where they've been, and let's concentrate on where we're going. And if you don't expect to win every match you step out on the field to play, then you're in big trouble. Right, so my expectations are we're going to go out to compete, to put ourselves in position to win every match, and we've done that in the last 5. We didn't do that early on, but I think if we take a step back and look at a little bit more of a holistic evaluation of it, I think that we're doing some things really well. We do have a young team. They're still trying to transition to our expectations, which again I feel like 10 games in we should be nearly through that, but we as a group understand what's required of us to go out and play and compete. I think right now we've yet to see ourselves play a quality 90 minutes. We're seeing ourselves really kind of trudge our way through a half, but then put on a pretty good display in the second half, or we're seeing ourselves play good through the back 2/3, but when it comes to the final ball and the execution and really committing numbers into the box, maybe that's lacking. We saw a little bit of that yesterday. I think we're seeing when we lose the ball, what's our immediate response? Are we immediately switch back on to try to defend and work hard for each other, or are we passing that responsibility on to somebody else? And so I think a lot of the expectations that we have been met, but there's so many that haven't been met as well. And I think at the end of the day, that's what keeps you humble, and that's what keeps you moving forward, especially when you're dealing with 18 to 22-year-olds. I mean, they got a lot on their plate. And listen, to start this year off, to say we're going to go on the road for 8, if you include our exhibition matches, for 8 of our first 10 matches, I feel like we've got to do a better job of putting ourselves in position to be successful. It's hard to go on the road. You're starting classes, you've got kids that are coming thousands of miles away from home, and you're on the road literally every weekend. That's poor planning, and certainly moving forward, I intend to do a much better job of putting ourselves in position and putting them in position to make a healthy and positive transition into the year.